Making music in Canada involves a lot of hauling your gear around through snowbanks when it's really cold outside, which sucks.
A musician here can't get into it for the money. It's strictly because they have very strong convictions about music.
There is a wave of Aboriginal or Indigenous music that has sort of come to the forefront in the mainstream media.
If you work really, really hard, and then you can get grants by the government for music, for creation, for art, there's a lot of opportunities, like as opposed to like the States, where I feel like people have to fight more for it.
A lot of times when it's really cold out, there's not really much else to do except for go see shows, and so there's a lot of enthusiastic audiences, which is pretty awesome. It balances it out.
And basically all these people are hanging out at each other's shows, everybody's really supportive, there's no sense of competition at all here, and I think that's created a interesting, if occasionally lazy scene because there's no sense of competition. I think you need to get into the gladiator pits sometimes.
This country has produced so many great records through the years, but not really like a lot of rock stars. Like when you think of what a rock star is, if you look at like David Bowie as the mold of a rock star, name a Canadian musician ever who's fit into that mold. There's no one. The latest from Yukon Blonde, that's Como. It may come from this like Canadian humility and there's this like humble like authenticity here that for better or for worse is ultimately like the wall that someone's gonna hit here.
Hey, 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 hi, hi.
We live in a time of great change, you know, climate change, this whole paradigm shift that we're going through, and Indigenous voices kind of represent this wealth of knowledge that hasn't necessarily been acknowledged or tapped into, and I think that artists and musicians, that's a very easy way to convey identity and stories and, you know, ways of looking at the world that is more easily accessible by somebody who's not in our community.
The first thing I remember, I was screaming down the trail. My sled was having problems, but I never thought it'd fail.
More mainstream ears have been opened to this unique sound. As far as the CBC goes, I feel like they're one of my main supporters and one of the ways that I've been able to reach audiences across this country.
Since we're publicly funded, you know, our money comes from taxpayers, then it's sort of built into our rules that we have to play more Canadian content. And we're not just playing the big success stories, you know. We play Canadian music across a wide spectrum. We like to take it as a challenge upon ourselves to try to make them household names and to treat artists even like that as if they're already superstars, basically.
And I think that's terrific. It's Canada basically saying that there's another value besides economic.
Sometimes it kind of helps to decide to be an artist and say, well, okay, I'll have some sort of support, financial support. Still, it's not all that great. You know, like musicians, artists, we have to work like 3 jobs and do the shows and do it all on our own. So making cuts into the arts program, the calque that we call in French, all the experimentation and the things that is less mainstream is all put aside.